Hey interwebs, JackitK here. Want to give you guys a quick update in regards to Moltres Community Day, or Moltres Raid Day. Same difference, -1, you're more likely to be in the car the whole time, but that's a topic for another day. Coming up this Saturday at Community Day times, maybe a little earlier depending on what time zone you're in, for 3 hours, like a typical community day, there'll be a Moltres Raid Day in the same style of Articuno and Zapdos. And you can look up the exact times online, but I mostly wanted to give you guys a heads up on some advice for this particular day. First and foremost, I want to mention something I said on the podcast about JackitK. I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, and looking more into it, it can be useful. I'm just so used to having double stab on all of my Pokemon that I kind of overlooked it from a raw DPS standpoint. As you may know, for Moltres Day, for the 3 hours, it's going to get an exclusive signature move, JackitK. Well, exclusive for Moltres for those 3 hours. Now, I was hesitant to recommend it at first just because Moltres is an excellent fire attacker and you may want to have double fire. However, looking at some notes on JackitK, if you're just looking for strong overall attackers, I wouldn't TM away all your JackitK Moltreses. Notes on PokeBattler.com and other sites note that JackitK is a pretty powerful 2-bar move. The move alone bumps up Moltres from being number 23 to number 12 on a generic raid clearing counter. So basically, with JackitK, that gives Moltres almost doubles his DPS viability, like DPS being, in a nutshell, how much damage you can dish out quickly. So, I wouldn't sleep on it just because it's not double fire. Either way, since it is pretty much the best, if not one of the best fire attackers we have in the game so far, if you don't have a Moltres yet, I wouldn't be sleeping on this event either way. All gyms are going to be turning into Moltres gyms for the 3 hours of this event, so it's a good time to stock up on candies if you got a good one that you need to power up, or you haven't gotten one at all. Now, what you're probably interested in is counters. However, I got a little bit of advice in regards to rating. I'll go through real quick. I would get a group ahead if you have not already. Google Facebook groups. Search the Discords. Find a way to meet up with people who are going to be at this event in your area. Thankfully, for people who don't already have a great community, it's not hard. While you are going to need at least 2 to 3 people, this is probably one of the easier raid dates that are going on, so you may be able to get by with the numbers you had before, even if you weren't able to in the past. Still, I would try to get as many people together as possible because, best case scenario, the more people you have, the more raids you'll be able to take down in that time frame. And don't forget that you get 5 free raid passes during the time of the event. And those 5 free raid passes you can only get during this event. You have to get them one at a time per spinning each gym. Now that I got that out of the way, moving on to counters. Moltres is a fire flying type, making it weak to electric and water types, but especially weak to rock types. So the name of the game here is, if it has a rock quick move and if it has a rock charge move, you definitely want to consider it. And bring your strongest Pokemon that can dish out the rock damage. Using the raid guide that's listed on Pokebattler.com, here's a list of the top picks. Tyranitar with Smackdown and Stone Edge. As always, Tyranitar is king when it comes to rock moves. So if you got even like 3, if you got a group of 5 and you all have 3 Smackdown Tyranitars, that'll be more than plenty for taking on Moltres raids. In fact, he's so strong that in partly cloudy weather, it's possible to even take out a Moltres with only 2 trainers. That's just how darn good Tyranitar is. I should mention that partly cloudy boosts all rock type moves, so if it just so happens to be that weather when you're playing the game, I would especially recommend bringing rock types. In fact, I would usually only bring non-rock types if it's the strongest thing you got and or the weather is aligned to boost Pokemon, like water, raining for the water and the electric types. So if it's not raining, you pretty much want to stick to your rock types. Back to the specifics on rock types though. If you don't got an army of Tyranitars, your next best bet is Golem. The lone form actually slightly outperforms the regular variant, mostly under the assumption that it'll be able to use its signature move, Sky Attack, against you. We're not certain if that will actually be the case though, or if it's just a move it'll have when you catch it. And that's just due to its electric typing allowing it to resist the move. Actually, even the guy says that Golem can be better than Tyranitar if you want to conserve potions at lower level, but you in return end up doing less damage to it, which results in it taking more time to take it out, which results in you needing more people to complete it. So if you're not well stocked up on potions, it might be good to have some Golems in the back. Kyogre actually makes the list after Golem just because it's so strong of a water type. Besides that, if you happen to have that Fable Legacy Almastar that has 2 rock moves, both quick and charge, that's something you could bring. Regirock if you don't have any of the options above. And just you're a lower level player that just happened to come across a Regirock raid and just is sitting on top of your top CP, then it'd be worth bringing Regirock. In a similar win, if you just so happen to get a Lunatone or Solrock and don't have any other options that are already listed, that's good too. Rayquaza's on here probably just because it has Ancient Power as an possible move, and it's so powerful. So if you have like TMs to spare and don't have a team of Tyranitars or Golems, then it might be worth considering. And Sudowoodo, if the weather is partly cloudy, is also an option. Probably one of the more easily accessible Pokemon that's listed on this raid guide. If it happens to be rainy when you're playing the game, then you're in luck. The 2 legendary Pokemon Raikou and Zapdos also are pretty good performers. In fact, Raikou actually is the 3rd strongest Moltres counter, assuming right after Tyranitar and Golem, if the weather is rainy. If you don't got the options listed above, there are a few other options you could consider if you have at least 3 people going into the raid. In fact, it seems like there's a wide variety of Pokemon that you can 3-man a Moltres with if you got them up to level 35. If you're lower level than that, you may need 1 or 2 extra trainers. But just some of the things that are listed include Gyarados, Aerodactyl, Jolteon, Vaporeon, Kabutops, Swampert, Armadillo, I'm not going to be able to pronounce it. It's the Gen 3 fossil Pokemon, Blastoise, Starmie, and the list goes on even more than that. If you haven't already, I highly encourage you to go to Pokebattler.com and check out the list for yourself. If you make a Patreon account, which is free, just from making an account, you get some room to put in your own Pokemon in, and you can see out of the Pokemon that are in your collections, which ones perform the best. My personal recommendations, if you don't have any high level Pokemon like legendaries in that, or even Gyarados, Vaporeon and Jolteon is probably the most easily accessible out of all the Pokemon that you could still use to defeat a Moltres in this. Keep in mind they do lower the power of the Moltres down, specifically so more people have access to it. But I would also consider looking into the starter Pokemon, especially if you got a bunch of Blastoise with Hydro Cannon, all things. Like, I'm not sure how much I recommend it because even Swampert outperforms that, but the options are options. Anyways, I hope this could help you guys out. I kind of wish I talked more about last week, but better late than never, as long as you got a chance to get it before the event starts up. I'll try to post this up as soon as I get done recording it, so apologies if I'm a little mumbly all over the place, but I wanted to make sure I at least got this public with enough time for people to actually take advantage of the advice I have to share. Take care, everyone.